Alright, family, how are you today? I hope everything is going well with you. I'm going to title this video, What I Would Tell My Younger Self. So I'm going to tell you a story. When I was younger, I was a teenager and I wanted to be accepted. I wanted to be loved. I wanted to have a boyfriend and all that. And I knew that I wasn't the prettiest girl in the school. And I wasn't attractive. I had a bad self-image of myself. And and the one thing I would have told my younger self was not to let the enemy steal your joy. Because what happened when my brother died was my joy disappeared. And for a long time, I wasn't very joyful. I might have looked joyful, but in spirit, I was not joyful. And, I just felt that over all the years, I think that one particular time period or that one particular event in my life really influenced my decisions. And I think that if I had maybe given it to God originally and let Him take care of that, the decisions would have been made that were better. But that year was rough on me. 1992 was rough on me because not only did I lose my brother, but I lost, before my brother died, my future father-in-law died. And then in November, my husband almost died. So I have a traveling blood clot. So I think that year was just really rough on me. And I really didn't think back then, my younger self, that I would be thinking about this now and writing a video about everything. When they say when you open up a YouTube, it's so bad as a young girl, being shy, being sensitive. Obviously, I had some autism. I didn't know about that back then in the 70s. That wasn't something that everybody knew about. And it was a very difficult time for me when I was younger. And I knew I wasn't the most beautiful girl in the world and all that. But I did meet a man who was a little older than me, but in high school. And he was really a loser in a lot of ways, because he wasn't intellectual. He was what attracted me to him was the fact that he was not like me. He was tall, he had dark hair, he was very handsome, he had very beautiful eyes and everything. Very nice man, as far as I'm concerned. He was respectful to me in a lot of ways, but he smoked and he drank, and he was older than me by a couple years. And I was always raised, Catholic, and I had these values. They were kind of old-fashioned values for some reason. I always did. And of course, I accepted Christ when I was younger. And I just fell head over heels to this guy for some reason. I just absolutely loved this guy. We broke up because he wasn't, I guess, what they call faithful, or we just didn't, we were unevenly yoked anyway. So I had another friend that I worked with, and I worked at Wendy's, and we used to joke around and stuff, and we had a lot in common. And he went to a Pentecostal church, and this gentleman ended up being my husband. Well, I had made the decision. He was a year ahead of me in school. So he was already graduated from high school when I met him, and or started dating him and stuff, or visiting him, or I don't know if you want to call it dating or courting or whatever it was, because it wasn't really like a normal dating relationship. We were friends and everything. So we got along very well and everything. And when it was time for me to graduate from high school and I was looking into going to college, I really wanted to go to Keene State, and I wanted to become a teacher. And there was some other schools that I went to. Well, when he heard that I wanted to go to Keene State, he's like, if you go there, we're over. So I said, well, I kind of soul searched a little bit, and I said, well, my heart's not really into Keene State that much. I really want to go to Notre Dame College. Well, I shouldn't have changed my my mind about Keene State, and I should have went. And I'm going to tell you why. And that is because I did not really get the guidance I needed in Notre Dame College to become a teacher. I ended up marrying my husband in 1993 after my brother died, and I went part-time because I couldn't handle the loss of his death. And I was misguided because I originally wanted to be a teacher, and they didn't put me in the education program. I mean, they just totally, completely overlooked everything. So to become a teacher, I would have had to do all these different steps. They did not do it ahead of time. So I ended up graduating with a history major. So it didn't really get me much. It didn't get me very far. All right, so my regret wasn't marrying my husband. It wasn't that. My regret was choosing the wrong school. So as life went on, I tried to go into early childhood education. So I racked up debt for that. And when it came time for practicums, I went through a better school. And I was in the middle of practicums, and they wanted me to go full-time practicum with elementary school, and they wanted me to not work. And I'm like, well, how am I gonna pay for my bills if I'm not working? Really, honestly, I wouldn't have had time to do part-time in a restaurant and all that. I was a full-time mom. My husband worked full-time. I had a child, and I had to give it up and then I got, when they do an assessment, and I was doing early childhood with a special education degree because of autism and dealing with autistic children and reading disabilities and those types of things. She claimed I could not handle a small group of children, which I felt was mean, but I guess that's why it changed my focus from being an ECE teacher, or I would have been a teacher. So instead of listening to God, all right, and doing what he wanted me to do, I raked up more debt, quit school, listened to the devil. I listened to the negatives. She's not going to be a good teacher because she's not mentored enough in the preschool. All that kind of thing. So you could see where the negative thoughts happen. And that's the problem that I had, was I was too busy listening to the negative voice instead of the positive voice of the Lord, telling me, you can do this. I want you to do something special. I want you to be a teacher. I want you to teach people. So I actually did a business. So what I would tell my younger self was not listen to the negatives and seek God in all things. I would have learned that I would have been way better off than where I was. The one thing I do not regret is getting married and having my child and those types of things. I kind of wish that I could have realized that my husband wasn't an independent person when I married him. But, I guess it's just the way it is, right? You can't really choose who you're going to marry. You can, but if it's meant that God wants you to marry that person, there's a reason. So I'm not going, and I think that if I hadn't gone through that difficult time period, I wouldn't have strayed from my goals. But were they really my goals? Was it really God's plan that I was a teacher? You know, I never thought of that. You know, when young people make plans and want to become whatever they want to become, and they don't consult God in that decision, that's where things can stray, you know. So what I would tell my younger self, if I could go back, which I can't,
in 3/4 of a mile, turn right onto Bremer
Street. Pray
Street.
more, would be to trust in God more, would be to listen to God and do what needs to be done, and, you know, make better decisions and weigh out my decisions. And I don't know if that would have made a difference later on. But, you know, when I was studying, we were going through marriage preparations and stuff. You know, the first thing that should have been on our list was put God first. And we did not. So I'm going to say to people, and I'm learning from my then. Or was I really meant to be a teacher? See? So there's a lot there. A lot there. But if you notice on my live streams, I do like to do the PowerPoint and teach you guys the Bible and teach you guys what I learned from the preachers that I have learned from over the years. So I guess that's my form of teaching. And my other channel, I teach stuff that I have learned from books and websites and stuff like that from my research. So I'm teaching people in a different way. So I guess that's good in a way. The Lord showed me that I teach. I just teach differently. So I hope you guys found value in this video. And I hope that you can take something from it. And I guess I'm going to give you a word of encouragement before I leave. First of all, if you're young and you are just beginning your life, do not listen to the negative voices in your mind. Always consult Jesus or the Lord. Number one. Number two, always trust your instincts. And really, when you make the choice, do the pros and the cons of each school that you decide to go to. And pick one that's best. But also, when you pick a career, make sure you pick that's within the Lord's will for you. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. I have a great day, and I hope to see you later. Bye!